her, it's all about you to start with. It's not about getting results, it's not about getting dates or getting lanes and stuff. To start with, it's all about you. If you see a girl you think's gorgeous and you are afraid of going up to the girl and saying she's gorgeous, you've got work to do. You know, you've got to be going up to her and doing it, and you'll be surprised. Obviously I teach loads of guys every week, every weekend, and the amount of guys I've had who've literally been in shock after they've approached a super hot girl, just in, you know, directly, just got into a conversation, nothing complicated, got her number, and he's like looking around like in a daze, like what just happened, you know? That's never happened before, because they read the game and they think it's really complicated, because the game was written for a very kind of complex environment, like a nightclub where there's just loads of stuff going on. But in the day,
it's basically for a lower value guy in Hollywood approaching very, very hot and bitchy girls. So yeah, it's a very specific environment. And it doesn't apply at all.
At all. Like their game's actually very simple, and there's still like some concepts you've got to understand and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lot. It's a lot simpler. It's quite it's a linear process, and it's very, very simple once you get down to it. And it's the amount of guys who they just assume that hot girl's going to be bitchy. They just assume she's going to be. But you'll be surprised, man. Like I've gone up to girls who, like, they've got a face on them. I've approached girls and I've stopped them and said, "Excuse me, sorry to bother you," and they've looked at me like I'm a piece of poo, right? And they've looked at me like, but I haven't reacted to it. And as soon as they found out what it is I wanted, it just turns upside down and it changes completely. So if you haven't gone direct before, you've got to try it just to experiment and see those results, right? And I'll tell you this, it's what women want. Right? It's how they want to be approached. They want this stuff. And I've had so many reactions from girls telling me, you know, lying in bed, and they said, "Oh, you know, I love the way you approached." I've had students. My best success story is I had this student. It was he wasn't even a student actually. I was out doing it, and I bumped into a friend of mine, and he was with this guy, and he's into the game, so he knows about it. And I was just chatting to him, and he's like, "Oh, I split up with my girlfriend a while ago. And, you know, how are you feeling?" I was like, "Dude, try some day games, do some direct stuff." He's like, "Oh, no, I've never done that before." It's like, "Come on, it'll be alright." And I say, "Right, go approach her." Doesn't work too well. Comes back, give him some feedback. This beautiful girl walks by. I said, "Dude, go approach her." And now they're living together now. They're going out. You know, they're proper like boyfriend and girlfriend now. And that's you know, I did that, and it's nice because he didn't do anything special. He went up and he just went direct. Just went and like. I see direct not as being, say, a direct line that you've read on the internet. That's not how I see direct. I mean, you are going direct, but I see direct as going up and expressing yourself honestly without being inhibited by fear or anxiety or anything like that. So if you're going up to a girl and you say, "I think you look absolutely stunning," but you don't think she looks stunning, that's not direct. I think that's not right. Like, if you think a girl is, if you do think a girl looks stunning, then say it, you know. But
I remember that. I remember going out to the club and kind of being armed with these direct openers and stuff, and then looking around and being like, "Well, she's okay."
She's
I guess I could give it a try. And you go up and you're like, "Yeah, you're really pretty," and you don't mean it, and it's just never going to work.
One thing
that even carries forward later on in the interaction. If you're in the interaction, you're basically thinking in your mind, "And she's alright, I guess I'd sleep with her, but I'm not that interested in her." She picks up on it a lot of the time.
Definitely. Let me take you through the psychological, this thing I've worked out. There's like a 5-step process that goes through my mind when you approach directly.
I haven't heard this, have I?
I don't think so.
Right.
Getting all excited. Okay. And this happens like so quickly, and it happens in order as far as I can understand. Maybe I'm wrong by a couple of points. I mean, anyone wants to send an email, don't. So it happens in order, and this is from my experience of approaching myself and seeing students do this. And if they trigger one of these things, they get blown out. And by the way, when I say you get blown out, like the worst thing that will ever happen with direct day game that's ever happened to me is, "Sorry, I'm busy." You know what I mean? And that'll be being triggered by one of these things. So the first thing that goes through my mind, and this is like really quick: does this person mean to harm me? Right? And that'll be. It's like this stuff is just cause and effect.
Yeah.
If a girl if that's being triggered, it's being caused by something you're doing. So let's say you're probably you're definitely not smiling. Your voice tonality is probably sounding a bit aggressive. You're probably like invading a personal space a little bit too much.
Mad staring eyes.
Eyes. So let's say like worst combination, go out to a guy going, "Hey, excuse me," like that, right? You're going to trigger that, and it's like, whoa, like from that point onwards, she's decided this person is a threat to me.
Yeah.
And it's like if a salesman calls you up, and if you've decided from the start you don't want to buy anything, so you're not even listening to what he's saying, you've already made the decision, right? So the same thing applies with these things. Mm-hmm. The second thing, what's the second thing? God, I hope I don't forget this stuff. Does this person mean to persuade me?
Okay, or trick,
persuade, convince. And this is when again, this happens. This is the most common type of blowout you get during the daytime, especially in central London, is where, because think about this, right? I do this all the time, so this is my reality. This is normal. I feel guilty if I don't approach a girl I think is cute, right? But a hot girl, the reason why this stuff is so powerful is like, how often is she approached in the street in the daytime directly? Mm. How often do you reckon? Like, a hot girl in the daytime. Very rarely. Yeah, very rarely. The amount of times a student said to me, she told me that's never happened to her before, ever. And this is what I'm talking about, right? If you've got a 25-year-old girl who goes clubbing, let's say twice a week, and she's approached 20 times in that night, that's 40 times a week, times that by however thousands, right? So you understand why there's a lot of confusion and it's quite a complex thing to do with the nightclub game. But with day game, just by going up and doing it direct, you're already standing out
from all the other guys. Yeah, I think it's quite rare for them to get approached at all in the daytime.
Exactly.
And then if you take, anyone that does, they're doing this kind of bullshit AFC stuff, and they're not even going for the number because they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then there might be a couple of guys that are pretty good, but they're still doing it indirect. So yeah, she's probably never been approached
in this way, unless I was there. I did it. Yeah. And this is why it's so powerful. So, but the most common type of blowout you'll get is that they mistake you for a salesman or a charity person, because everything that happens
if you're in
a
big city and
especially
central, then
because everything that happens to them is always going to be running through their reality. Like, so if someone approaches them, they think, well, what could this be? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a guy being going direct to me? No, there's no way she's going to assume that. It'll be like this person's trying to sell something. And this is why if you approach...
It's the opposite in the night time, where if you approach a group of girls and you're trying to sell them something, and you come up and you're like, hey girls, how you doing? And they think, oh, he's come to pick us up. And then you're like, yeah, I wondered if you'd be interested in that. And they're like, oh. Yeah. In the daytime, it's kind of the opposite. You go up and they're like, oh no, he wants to... Oh, okay, he's picking me up.
Exactly. So if you are approaching girls and straight away they're like looking scared, then you're triggering the first one. If you're going up to them and they're saying that they're not really looking at you, or they glance and they go, sorry, I'm busy, they think you're trying to sell something, they don't understand what they're going to do. Sorry, no time for compliments today. Like, nah, you know what I mean? So if you do try direct and she says, no, sorry, I'm not interested, or I'm in a rush, she thinks you're trying to sell something. So don't take that personally, because there's a mistake happening. She's making a mistake, and you've got to think, right, well, something I'm doing is coming across like I'm a salesman. And if you go to the Purely Training website, on my trainer page, I've got a PDF you can download, and it shows you, there's like photos and arrows that shows you the approach, and it's there'll be something that we're doing, and hopefully I can cover in a bit as well. So the third, if you get past that, she doesn't think you're a salesman. The third thing is this person sincere? Which is what we were talking about a minute ago. Like, if you go up to a girl who's like dressed a bit average, and you say, you are the hottest guy I've seen all week, she's going to be like, flattered a little bit, but bullshit,
Yeah.
And if someone comes up to you and says something and gives you a compliment, and you think, nah, that's not true, you think, what does he want? You know what I mean? There's that insincerity thing, and then again, she'll think...
Yeah, girls know what's good about them and what's bad about them, so you have to kind of pick the thing.
I mean, I have stopped girls and said, you look incredible, and they have done. I give them a little twirl and everything else, But I've also had students, and like we see a girl, and I'll say to them, right, well, look at her. What is it about her you appreciate? What is it about her you really like? And for example, he might go, well, it sounds a bit weird, but I really like her earrings. Go tell her. Go tell her you love her earrings. Turns out she makes them for a living. It's her job. It's just like an earring maker or something. And he number-plays, because he didn't go up and say, oh, you look absolutely gorgeous. Because the first thing... Because I tell guys, go up and be honest, And... If you can go up and be honest and come across as high value, so you're giving her a compliment from a position of high value rather than that, like trying to flatter her, trying to do it to be liked, then that's when they melt. Yeah. So that's the is he being sincere? And then after that, we've got things like what's the other thing? That's the third thing. The fourth thing is this person socially intelligent? You know, and that just comes through experience.